That's not some wild imagination. It's common sense. You'll notice here of people. I hate to demean anyone's God, but I know I used to make excuses for God. I got tired of making excuses for God. If God was capable, if God cared and was capable, the disease would not exist. Oh, but we brought that on ourselves. Well, okay, let's go to that. We brought it on ourselves and let's start using our, as some would say, God given brains and see what we can do about correcting that. And then when we do, instead of trusting the scientists, the people that spend their lives with this kind of stuff, we want to turn to conspiracy theorists. We want to turn to politicians. We want to turn to idiocy. But as we go through this possibility of vaccines coming up with coronavirus, COVID-19, a worldwide pandemic we are in the middle of, worldwide pandemic. And is it more important that we make money rather than try to stay alive? Whatever. If you've got to even think about that question, you're not using your head at all. That's just ignorance. Speaking very loudly. Excuse me. I'm a little bit sinus congested this morning myself. So where are we in the world of medicine? First of all, COVID-19 spreading of it is worse now than it was. There are several reasons for that. Number one, these people are afraid or don't want, I don't know what their fear is, don't want to wear a mask. They don't want to do social distancing. To them, their freedom to engage in certain activities is more important than the health and lives of people. That's where we've come to as people. Probably not the first time in our history, but it's showing itself pretty ugly right now. So now we're in worse shape than we were. I've been in business all my life. I've walked away from work. From big money, I've walked away because I put family interest and health interest above money. I never recovered from the last situation I walked from, not financially. I recovered health wise. I'm here. I did the right thing. I literally walked away from $1 million a year because I had more concerns about what my family was going through than I did about the money and lifestyle issues. That is a fact. I got one check from a company out of Illinois. You can look up the company, Lily Bridge and Company. Used to give me checks between $60,000 and $70,000 a month. The one company that I contracted with. I backed away from that because of health issues with my family and set my priorities accordingly. And I never regret it, even though I never regained, I never bounced back to that kind of financial status in my life. And I don't give a shit. I did the right thing. There's more to life than money. There's more to life than stuff. And my life is not about economic. My value is not based on a dollar. If yours is, I pity your poor ass. That your existence is based upon a dollar and what kind of stuff you have in your driveway and the size house you live in. I do pity you for that. I know people right now that are working their asses off, hard working people, live in fucking mobile homes. They work harder than these people that live in, it is. It's so hard work is not the answer to a lifestyle issue. It's not. Some people know how to handle money. Other people just do not. And that's fine. But that's not where I'm going this morning. Vaccines and gods. You've got groups of people. In fact, the poster that I've got. conspiracy bullshit, as if, as if Bill Gates has some kind of conspiracy to depopulate the earth. First of all, these people, these men and women in power, their power is worthless if they don't have something to be in power over. If they don't have a lot of people to control, if that's the issue, Bill Gates is trying to control my life, or the government's trying to control my life, they're not trying to get rid of you. Trust me, they need you to be part of the system, because they have no power without people to have power over. So let's get that out of the way first. Then let's talk about vaccines. Well, one step further. If God was capable and gave a shit about your health, he would have prevented COVID-19 and the measles. You wouldn't have to have waited thousands of years for modern medicine to come up with vaccines for this, that, and the other, okay? All right, you can be selfish with it. You can be community thoughtful about it, whatever. But vaccines have played a very important part in our lives. Each year, they prevent more than 3 million childhood deaths worldwide from diseases such as diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, measles. We rid of polio. All these diseases that 100, 150 years ago, these were common things. And thanks to vaccines, you're not hearing about those. Hepatitis B, HPV. These vaccines have preventive benefits, not just to young people, but to older people, mature people as well. So now we've got a new generation of vaccines. These vaccines now are functioning different. They harness a body's immune system to treat a disease rather than to prevent it. And these vaccines are moving through a clinical trials and soon into the marketplace. Every time progress is made, and I go back through the history of just the 20th century and in the middle and latter parts of the 20th century. Okay, we'll start with organ transplants. So when organ transplants was first becoming a thing, and it's always the same ilk of people that stand opposed to this kind of stuff. When organ transplants were just becoming a thing in the world, heart transplants, lung transplants, all these kind of things, the comments you would hear is similar to the comments you hear now. First of all, the comments, and it's always from the same ilk of people, usually the right-wing Christian group of people that stand opposed to this. The very ones that now embrace these things to save their own lives initially stood very much opposed. The term that was used by this same ilk of people for organ transplants, they called it a form of cannibalism. They did. They called it a form of cannibalism. So they stood in staunch opposal to heart transplant, organ transplant, God forbid, face transplants, hand transplants, all these other transplants. And now they're the ones lining up for these transplants to save their lives. And it's been that way throughout history. Any advancement that science makes, the God-fearing people are the first ones to stand opposed to it. They'll even use terms like, well, you're trying to play God. They don't understand science, number one. They don't understand what's taking place, number two. The very men, if you watch the news now with COVID-19, some of the very men who have stood up in their congregations, and they're praying the COVID away. And you've seen these videos, I assume, where they're raving and ranting, Paul of White and these other well-known evangelicals around the country. And some of them are getting COVID-19 and dying. Where's this praying got them? I'm not telling people not to pray. But this faith healing shit is a bunch of bullshit, I'm telling you. And it's been debunked more than once. It can make you feel good. It can give you a certain comfort or whatever, but it's not curing anything. It's not preventing anything. We could have stalled COVID-19 without a vaccine if we just worn our fucking masks stayed the fuck at home and socially distanced, we could have curbed this thing. But we humans are impatient. I got to go spend my money. I got to go have a party. I want to go dancing. I want to do all this other shit. Yeah. So we do all that. And we expect what kind of outcome? We put money interest and entertainment interest above the well-being of not just ourselves, but our families, our parents, our children, everybody, the whole community. Sacrifice of a few months. It's like, oh God, oh God. The interesting thing about it is we're the wealthiest nation on the planet. We have the means to close down businesses and to write checks so that our people can support themselves. We do. Canadian government gave all their citizens $2,000 a month during this COVID-19. And they're not as wealthy a country as we are. But we prioritize our money in a fucked up way. Military spending. We've got the hypocrisy of politicians that's claiming they care that won't even pass a bill for stimulus package as they go out and Trump and company spends untold millions of dollars playing golf. We're so obsessed, we're so addicted to playing with balls that if we can't have that ball and play with it with a group of ball players, something we just, oh, Alabama football, oh, Jesus, fuck, what are we going to do? We're not adults. We're little children that don't have a brain. We're spoiled little brats. And then if anybody comes along and says, take this vaccine, we can curb this thing. No, I ain't taking that vaccine. Vaccines have an enormous impact on the health of the population of this world. The countries that have not gotten into getting these vaccines are the countries that have little kids dying at high rates over curable or preventable disease. How many people in your lifetime do you know that had polio, measles, chicken pox? Huh? How many people do you personally know that suffered from those things? Guess what? When I was a kid, those were still just almost common diseases. Then vaccines came along, and now we've got generations that just pretty much don't have a clue. Oh, that's ancient history. That's ancient history. So now we've been battling this COVID-19 for damn near a year, and they finally, in a rushed speed, come up with a vaccine. And people are running around, don't give me that vaccine. Well, go to work, spread the shit, be a fool. That's what you're going to be. Pray to your God and die. That's what you're going to do. The same God you're praying to supposedly had the power, the ability to prevent the disease from ever coming about, but just stood by and watched as hundreds of thousands of people got sick and died. Yet, he's going to respond to your prayer and keep it away from you simply because you said, please, Lord, protect me. Please. Por favor. People, turn off the conspiracy theorists. There's a lot of things that I don't trust about the government. They do make awful decisions. But our whole problem with COVID-19 was listening to politicians and not scientists. The CDC, if we'd followed their guidelines from day one, we wouldn't be having this conversation today, honestly. But stupidly, we listen to Trump and company and the idiot people, chiropractors, want to spout off about infectious diseases. Someone pushing vitamins. Someone pushing herbs. You may not like the fact that the government says wear a seatbelt and requires airbags in the car. But time and again, those things have proven to save lives and limb. friend of mine's daughter just recently had a severe accident here in Alabama. No broken bones, no bruises, about it. Airbags, seatbelts. I was one that's totally. I think seatbelts are should be worn. I wasn't hyped up on the government telling me, but when you got stupid people that won't care for themselves, what do? As a society, what do? You wear a fucking seatbelt. You've got airbags. They save lives. I've been in an accident one time that the seatbelt and the airbags did two things. They kept me from getting injured. I didn't even go to the fucking hospital. Totaled my car. But the seatbelt and the airbags worked. People think the government's just out to control. We are the government. Wake the fuck up, people. There'd be no need of a government if they destroyed all the people. There's going to be mistakes made. You make mistakes on a daily basis. You make mistakes for your fucking kids. You try your best. I don't believe that these people, even though I don't like Trump, I don't think he's got ill intent. He's just got a bad mouth. He's just got a pitiful presentation. Vaccines save lives. At the end of the day, yes, we're all going to die. But there is something called quality versus quantity. Unfortunately, in our Western culture, we define quality with quantity. They've got a good quality of life because they make a lot of money. They've got a good quality of life because they have a lot of stuff. That's the way we view it, sadly. Ooh, look at the car he drives. Did you see that dress she had on? Wow. We expend all this money and all this effort for shit that's going to rust, that's going to fall apart. In the meantime, we're ignoring ourselves with fucked up eating habits, fucked up living habits, wearing ourselves down because we have to slave ourselves to death over a fucking dollar bill. And you call yourself smart. And you call yourself intelligent. As you sit there and say, I ain't going to take that vaccine. Well, yeah, I ain't going to take that vaccine. And I'm going to overeat eggs. And I'm going to eat a bunch of pork. Hog up your fucking veins. Government hadn't stopped you from doing that. You can still fuck up your health. The number one addiction that people don't talk about is food addiction. That's the number one addiction. We're a food-obsessed people, and it is an addiction. We have sedentary lives for the most part. People work in cubicles, behind desks, in front of a computer, on the telephone, or whatever. And everything evolves around food. Hey, John, you want to get together after work? Yeah, where you want to go eat? Dates. I'm going to ask that girl to go out on a date. Yeah, what are you going to ask her to do? I will take her to a nice restaurant. All about eating. We sit there and we think that socializing is good as we put food in our mouth. Hey, John. That's what we do. The number one killer. The things we have to do to survive, we can't control ourselves. We overdo it. We eat the awfulest things. We have the worst lifestyles in the world. They come out with a vaccine to make things better. No. Like, I'm not going to stop eating what I like. I don't care if it kills me. I gotta have that taste in my, yeah, I got a food addiction. We'll talk about alcohol addiction. We'll talk about smoking. We'll talk about these other subjects. Ain't nobody wants to talk about food because we have this food thing. We could slow a lot of heart disease, a lot of other issues down if we controlled our eating habits. But no, don't want nobody tell me I can't do something, right? addictions, vaccines, gods. Are you kidding me? What we've seen historically is that if a doctor walks in and says, you're going to receive this hepatitis B shot and this DTP vaccine, and you can also receive the HPV vaccine, then there's this implication that one shot is more important than another, which is not true. We also have to quit being selfish. We have to start thinking about not just personal good, but community good. That's going to be a hard thing for us. You look at people's driving habits and you can see how difficult a thing that's going to be. Look at the way people drive. They're not thinking about the people around them. They're thinking about me. I've seen nothing but tail lights, brake lights, for as far as the eye can see on both lanes of the interstate, and then there'll still always be somebody behind you. Oh, I got it, and if you don't tailgate the person in front of you, this person behind you is going ape shit because there's a space between you and the car next to you, even though none of us are going anywhere. It just plagues the hell out of them that there's this space. I gotta feel that space. I can get in front of you because there's space. Because we're stupid. Humans are ignorantly stupid. And today they're ignorantly stupid because they wouldn't follow CDC guidelines, so we could have halted this COVID-19. And now, as we come into colder months, that's when we really get together indoors. We got shorter days, so at nighttime, we're not doing outdoor stuff. We're gathering in these enclosed environments. The windows are not open. The doors are not open. There's recirculated air, and we're getting in there. We got these family gatherings. We got football. We got this. We got that. Because we refuse to make a sacrifice for a short few months, people are getting sick. People are dying. The hospitals are full. I don't speculate this. I know it for a fact. My own daughter-in-law, just now barely recovering from COVID-19, spent days and days in the hospital, miserable. If she hadn't gone to the hospital, she would have fucking died. Because we just can't stay. We just can't sacrifice. The vaccine's a conspiracy. Bill Gates is trying to destroy us. Scientists, the mad scientists, are trying to destroy us. Don't take the vaccine. They're trying to take away football. They're trying to take away this. They're trying to take away that. No, they're trying to fucking save your fucking life. Wake up. Wake up. There's no perfect solution, folks. It's the best we can do. Be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Wake the fuck up. Cut the bullshit out and wake the fuck up. That's all I can say about this morning. Other than that, social distance. Wear a goddamn mask. If you're working somewhere and it's getting eat up by COVID-19, walk away from that bitch. Seriously. Protect you, protect your family, protect the community. You will survive it. You will survive it. You are a lot more than a credit score. You're a lot more than a bank account. You're a lot more than a car you drive and the house you live in. Wake up. Yep. Wake up.